All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Hajime no Ippo, Season 3, Episode 20.
Takamura versus David Eagle.
Yeah, and Takamura is very much losing right now. Very much losing. He is fighting on David Eagle's terms.
Yep.
He is playing a very defensive game since he did kind of misconstrue how strong Takamura really was.
Right.
And now Takamura is unable to make any serious progress at all.
Because as strong as you are, Takamura, you have to actually be able to make contact with the person in order to actually have that strength transfer force into them, thereby hurting them.
Yeah.
And so far, that has happened once.
Yeah, and in some ways, you're facing like a fully evolved Miyata outboxer here, whose speed is comparable to yours, but those counters, man. Yeah,
you just can't seem to get past them.
Yep.
But David Eagle is taking Takamura seriously because Takamura is terrifying. He is in the ring with a bear, and he does not want to get hit by said bear because that would be
run away
very, very bad.
So you must fight, and that leads to the potential of you getting hit. Takamura being in this fight, though, already for a few rounds, or a couple rounds, but not really making any serious progress. He needs to change up his strategy a little bit.
And he did say that he had a plan. So
he did say
I'm curious to see what that ends up being. Because Takamura and planning is not something that I would traditionally associate, the two things together.
It's the kind of thing where you were more concerned for him and his friends than you are for those he's trying to enact the plan on, really.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So let's see how much he can get serious and make something happen, though. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay.
All right. Well, this was a direction I didn't expect them to take the fight.
Right.
In that,
but it's high octane.
It's definitely high octane. So David Eagle narrowly avoided defeat a couple times.
Yeah,
and,
twice.
And even with that, now granted, eventually he started going after Takamura's cut, but after he narrowly avoided defeat the first time, he didn't actually go after Takamura's cut.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Now, I feel like this episode, and let me know what you think, Caleb, because this almost felt like it was sort of like a commentary on boxing and like the true sport of it versus the sort of what the audience would like to see in the sort of sports anime kind of sense of things, right? Of the not fighting dirty and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's all that, but I think the first half, I know what you're kind of meaning with the first half. So when Takamura ends up kind of stepping over the line, basically, and headbutting him,
right?
We've seen like half a dozen boxers use dirty techniques like that, where they know they can get away with it, but the ref will basically be like, hey, don't do that. Yeah. But it's just the thing of, that's okay.
And it's been said before in the show of like, hey, part of taking boxing seriously is that the most important thing is that you win, right? Yeah. If you can get away with something like that,
more power to you.
Yeah,
and it's a battle sport.
Right. And it felt kind of funny because the commentators and like the people in the sidelines and things like that talking about how like, oh, that was definitely an accident though. It felt like it could be the creator basically telling us, the audience, that Takamura wasn't actually fighting dirty, don't worry. But then we see in Takamura's head, and he doesn't repeat the sentiment, right? And is like, because it could totally be something as simple as the author's telling us that so that way we know Takamura didn't actually mean to do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's at all what it is. I think it's that he's so skilled at what he was doing that he made it perfect. No one thought that he did it intentionally.
That general aggression that he had and that anger towards him and everything manifested itself in just an instinctual quick headbutt, right?
Right. And he was doing those wide swings even before, so he might have been even thinking, I'm going to start wildly swinging so that my body gets thrown in some random ways so that when the refs see me potentially do something dirty and underhanded, I'll have an excuse for it.
Because my body was moving in wild ways anyways. If my head happens to clip his face.
Oh, well, you know.
So,
but it was so targeted, and the fact that it was the other eye.
Right. Yeah, that very much felt like it was Takamura wanting to basically, like, give him a lesson of, like, I'm going to, let me show you how a true professional boxes. Like,
they have no reservations.
Yep, exactly.
There was no all out.
There is, weirdly enough, Takamura gave him a lesson to not have such an ego. Like, because you know, like
it's a weird way of looking at it, but I know what you mean.
Like Eagle said it was his conscience, but it's also kind of his pride, right?
Well, no, everyone else said it was his conscience. Eagle never said anything about it at all.
I thought for sure he said that to his seconds when he was in the corner.
No, that was everyone else talking about the bit there. I mean, I can show you.
Okay.
Anything.
Well, yeah.
They might have.
But regardless, it's something where basically Eagle decided that he didn't want to do that because it didn't hold up with his ideals, basically, of how he wanted to box, right? But he's not acknowledging the fact that no. You are in here with a wild animal that will tear you to pieces. You can't afford to have pride or any reservations or things like that. You need to fully go in here with the only objective being, I am going to kill this man, right?
Yeah. His thing that he says is that it means something to him.
Gotcha.
And that it's something where he mentions earlier in his own head that he's finally found a true rival. He hasn't ever really had that much fear of losing. He has the pressure of being put on him that you must always win.
Right.
So he is the athlete that has been told you must always win, but he's never found anyone that really tested his limits. So he ends up winning constantly, but it's also because he plays so cautiously that he ends up never really having that opportunity to lose here. And Takamura plays so aggressively that he's basically spitting in the face of his cautious victory kind of style.
Sure.
Which is what the first round or two really was that Takamura surprised him with a really, really big punch. And
after that, it was just 1-2, 1-2, counter.
Yep. He played some of the most fundamental, basic outboxing style stuff, and Takamura was shut down for the whole match, really.
Right.
Until, recently.
Yeah, it is one of those things that anytime you bring in a character into a story like this and they are the champion, right? There's all this history that you need to kind of imply, infer, whatever, because you can't actually show it, right? Because they're not the main character. We're not gonna see another 80 episodes or whatever of build up for like all the things that this character went through, right? But
of course.
But we know that story is there. We just don't get to see it, right? Yeah, it happened, right? When it showed him all those times of being alone in the empty ring, and then it duplicates, right?
Kaleidoscope,
yeah, exactly. It's like he has walked the walk. He walked the walk. He's talked the talk, right? Like he is very familiar with these kinds of situations, just maybe not against Takamura specifically.
Right.
And that's something that's really good to sort of remind the audience about, is that Takamura is
ridiculous.
Ridiculous among the ridiculous.
Right.
Like Hawk was terrifying.
And Hawk was in some ways a better, in some ways he would have been a better, threat to, I would say, Eagle than even Takamura
potentially
would be. Because Hawk has that aggression thing in some ways even more, in a more terrifying way than Takamura does.
Right, because he method acted it. It's not just something where he lived it. It wasn't just something where when he got into the ring, then he let the beast out. He was just a wild animal day in, day out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Takamura is also in some ways better as a fundamental boxer than Brian Hawk, because he will employ actual techniques and stuff to gimmick his way into a situation to where he can deliver some actual damage to Eagle.
Right.
That moment where everyone else assumes he was playing 5D chess on Eagle, and he's like, no, I was just thinking about Kamigawa. That meant that the whole thing that he did there was instinct.
Right. Internalized strategy and raw desire to, not just inflict damage, but to not let Kamigawa down.
Right. So
he was going to get him that belt. He still is.
Yeah. So we see that Takamura has trained. That's another big difference between him and Hawk, is that he has trained so hard for this to the point where like everything about him is honed to a point, and like even them bringing up his lower body again as like he must have that trained to the utmost, and this is coming from the swimmer on the other side of things over there. So that was really cool.
One of the things that I feel like this episode did a really good job of reminding me personally is just how terrifying Takamura can be, because Takamura because there's a lot of times in the show where he is a comic relief character, you know,
sure.
like when he's not in the ring and he's joking around with Aoki and Kimura and things like that, right? And it's great fun. And at this level, all of the people that Takamura's going to be boxing again are also monsters, right?
Yeah.
But not quite the same way that Takamura is. And when he had Eagle in the corner and he was just demolishing him, and then Eagle clinches and Takamura still just keeps demolishing him, like that really communicated to me that, oh yeah, this champion, this golden god that is getting laid low, you know, thrown into the corner and is desperately holding on for dear life. Takamura is crazy. And the part where he inhales through his nose like crazy.
I just wanted to bring this up because you were talking about how terrifying Takamura is, and I was like, yeah, there's actually some parts in the episode where they full on like go crazy with the animation just to show him looking inhuman at points. And some of it is funny, but if you also think about it in that this is the guy who's been wailing on you. You're an eagle in this instance, and you see him just you're like, okay, what is this guy, an ape? Is he a bear? Is he a bear ape? Like what is this thing?
Gore bear. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I really felt for Eagle in this case here, because Takamura compared him to Ippo when he saw those eyes. Now, what's interesting is that Ippo's weakness has always been that he tends to not be as aggressive.
Right, he plays nice.
And this guy ended up playing nice here at a point where Takamura was not only willing to, play dirty, but then also extrapolate and, kind of go in on that dirty play. So he breaks Eagle's eye open and exploits it.
Yep.
And Eagle then matches him and then goes after the eye after he's done it, which is kind of like saying, not only are you my rival, but you're also kind of maybe a little bit of my shining example. One of the things that in sports, when you find a rival, usually the reason why usually when you find a rival, they have something in the sport that is they do better than you.
Sure.
It's not that they're your perfect equal, because there's no such thing really.
Right, and that's why it's always the
You push each other onward, but in a match, the time is too short. You're not really pushing each other onward. But wait, what if you are?
Right, that Lollapalooza like we got with Ippo and Sendo.
Yeah, that's a great example of that, where they both escalated things constantly back and forth to where Sendo nearly could have died. It was insane. But with this fight here, Takamura basically said, well, if you're not going to take the lead on this, then I will. I'll escalate the fight. You don't seem to be the kind of person to actually grab a hold of that, so I will.
You don't deserve the belt.
Yeah, you don't deserve the belt is basically what he said here by you disrespecting him, or you throwing shade his way by being like, no, I can beat you without taking advantage of that weakness. And Date being the first to be like, that's going to bite him in the ass, because I am the actual best, most experienced boxer here in this area, other than maybe the two people in the ring. And if I was up against Ricardo Martinez,
and he got a bleeder on his eye,
or I got a bleeder on my eye, we would exploit the shit out of that.
Right. Even in the case of Ricardo Martinez, who did destroy me without one, if he got it, he would do it. He would do it.
And there would be
a killer.
Ego.
Cold, clean, methodical, and thorough.
Right. Yeah, thorough. It's that idea of like, why would I waste that? But
terminate with extreme prejudice. Like,
I just love the idea that if he does this, that's kind of like him saying, I don't fully know yet if I am ready to end you and lose a rival.
Sure.
I would like you to maybe take the lead on this, because every time maybe he's done it where he's been like inviting someone, would you like to be my rival, basically, he just mouths right through them.
And that's the thing that I want to bring up again as like something we need to keep in mind for Eagle. Because in a situation like this, right, if there was a character like Eagle that had this approach to boxing and things like that, and all they've known is victory and whatnot, it would be I would have a hard time buying that when they end up getting beaten by Takamura, because it's when they take these concepts and principles with how they box and apply them, because I would think that those would have potentially been beaten out of them by now, right, in order to maintain their spot at the top. And that just goes to show how ridiculously good Eagle is, because while being a champion and defending his title, right, several times, I can't remember how many exactly it was.
More than once.
But more than once, never did he have to actually learn this lesson, because he was just that good.
Right.
Right?
I think that they've built up the idea that everything about his style has no weaknesses, no inherent weaknesses in his style. Maybe the only thing that we've noticed thus far with regards to his general style of boxing is that he might be a little bit average in the power department, but that's probably just because he's being compared to Takamura here. But everything that he has as a boxer, outboxing style, which is the more preferred kind of style, because it focuses on speed and counters.
Right. They specifically said with Ippo when he started boxing, it's like, oh, I guess we'll go for more old style classic,
which does get naturally countered by modern style.
Right.
But at the very least, okay.
It makes for some spectacular fights,
Yeah, because of his uppercut and the cell punch and all that, and of course the Dempsey roll. But this one here, this is the first weakness really we've ever seen from Eagle, is that when his opponent had a very easy target to exploit, he doesn't take it. And of course that's going to piss off Takamura. Do you think there's a possibility that in imagining himself facing Brian Hawk, he had this thought at some point where he's like, what if I found a way to cheaply beat Brian Hawk? In his mind, this would be the equivalent of that, but something like that we consider cheap or what have you. Right. And he had made the decision like, no. I would rather have a slugfest with Brian Hawk than win in that kind of a way.
Right.
Or is it a thing of where he's like, I want to feel what it's like to be close to losing.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's not anyone's singular reason. But I feel
an amalgamation of
all
of
these
things,
of all these things,
Yeah, and it's, oh man, if you take Takamura and you think of him as a bear, right, which is kind of what Eagle was doing, and okay, I'm trapped in a ring with this terrifying person, and then you have the gall to say, hey, the bear seems to be having a problem with one of its eyes. I'm not going to exploit that advantage, Like, no, I want to fight this bear fair and square. It's like, no. You do whatever kind of dirty tactics you have to. You kite that bastard, you kick it in the dick, right?
Look, an eagle.
That's why, in a lot of ways, people love to see boxing, because it is a form of absolute barbarism that is sanctioned by society, right? Like,
we have not evolved from the days of the Colosseum,
right?
Well, not much.
Yeah,
at least.
not much. Like, we'll put a ref in there to make sure that they don't start biting ears off or anything. But to punish them if they do. But
right.
But still, that's what people are here to see, right? And the fact that he is able to convince this audience, this crowd, that no, I'm going to do it my way, and they're like,
actually cheered him,
and they're like, damn, this is Takamura's home stadium.
Yeah, and
these are his fans, and they were cheering for him, for Eagle, and booing Takamura.
Right, that's impressive.
That speaks huge amounts to Eagle's character and his presence and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And now he's learned his lesson. let's see what happens.
He'll use everything here.
Right, because I think Eagle's going to lose.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like this is Takamura's road to glory.
Oh yeah, there's zero chance that that Eagle's going to win. It's one of those unfortunate kind of meta aspects of Ippo as a show where Takamura is the shining star.
Right, he's the one that will go the distance and no one ever could.
It's that thing where they can do this with Aoki and Kimura, where they can lose, and that's okay. Thus, like Kimura's fight in the movie is one of the most nail-biting, tense fights we've ever had in Ippo. But for these fights, it then becomes something about what will Takamura, in a lot of ways, learn from his opponents.
Sure.
Through the encounter.
And right now, Takamura is the teacher.
And right now, he's the teacher.
And the thing is that
he's definitely going to win.
Right, he's definitely going to win. But here's the thing. Eagle, I want to see how he loses. I want to see how he loses. I want to see what happens until then. I would love for Eagle to become a recurring character. There's a very good possibility that he might not, but he will not crash like Hawk did.
No.
Right?
No, that's where he'll be different.
Right. Like whatever lesson he gets from this, oh yeah, like he'll redouble his efforts, and I have no doubt that after Takamura relinquishes his belt for this level, for this weight class, and goes up to the next one, Eagle will take it back, and there will be stories told about Eagle, right?
Yeah, I think that you're onto something here. Is that Eagle might even feel sad when he realizes that this guy is going to move on to the next weight class.
He's gonna pass me by.
And that he's probably never going to be able to fight Takamura again.
Right, because eventually, by the time he gets to the point where like he could have maybe, Takamura will probably be 3 weight classes higher by then,
or 2 or something.
Right, and it's just like no, sorry.
So I want to see Eagle at some point, even though the anime is basically going to be over soon. I want to see him have that moment where he's like, go the distance, and he like kind of like taps him on the shoulder with like that, like, you go. But if you slack off,
right, if you falter,
I will come chasing after you. And I would love to see Eagle theoretically go back to his coach and be like, how much more weight can I put on?
Ooh,
and it's going to be a thing where the coach is like, you are actually kind of maxed out. This is your perfect spot. And he's like, so you're saying I could do it, it just wouldn't be as good. And he's like,
right, so
because it would be a way that Takamura could channel Ippo, and his punches could give life in that way. That he makes the boxer,
that would be awesome.
Like kind of
and
get
give
that
life,
new fire,
give life
ass,
to the golden god that was the consummate professional, it seemed, but also was maybe lonely at the top. So.
And it's not the top. He's going to see. He's going to see someone.
There are new summits, and
just keeps going on past him.
And eagles can fly very, very high.
Yeah.
So
But hey, great kind of one-off arc character.
Yep.
At least for now. I don't expect much in the immediate sense.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, the manga's some over 1,000, 1,200 chapters or something like that. So I'm sure he's the type of character who could be a Sendo or some kind of a kind of equivalent, but for Takamura's kind of storylines in general. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.